I know that there is a whole lot going on in the world right now, but please, as you pay attention to all of these other crazy news stories that are coming out, remember to keep your eyes on the southern border. Because, man, we are really building up a lot of troops on the southern border right now. In fact, it was just announced that we are getting ready to send 3,000 more battle-ready troops, folks. I'm not talking National Guard and stuff like that. I am talking battle-ready troops. And if you look at the forces we are building up on our border, if I didn't know any better, I would say that we were preparing to invade Mexico. Now, of course, I'm not saying that's what's happening here. But if I saw this type of troop buildup on the border of any other country, I would assume that an invasion was coming, that war was coming. The way we're building up these troops on the southern border right now, it reminds me of how Russia was building up troops on the border of Ukraine before they invaded. And Pete Hegseth, he just stated this week that military operations in Mexico are on the table. And if you look at some of these troops they're sending down there, they're sending troops that specialize in like urban combat, the type of combat these troops would be going through if they were to roll into Mexico and try to take the cartel on, head on. So it's getting wild. Also, we got drones in the sky. We got spy planes in the sky over Mexico. And quietly, we've already had a few high-profile cartel members arrested and handed over to us. So there's a lot going on down there, but there's also so much else going on in the world that we're not hearing much about what's happening at the border. But I want to go ahead and dive into this article because these latest troops that they're sending, it's making me feel as if something is coming. Pete Hegseth has said military operations are on the table. I think that they're beyond on the table. I think that they're kind of planning to do something. I mean, the way that they're building up these forces. But let's go ahead and dive into this info. Pentagon orders 3,000 additional troops to the U.S.-Mexico border. The Pentagon will deploy approximately 3,000 additional active duty troops to the U.S.-Mexico border over the coming weeks to bolster President Trump's ongoing crackdown on illegal crossings. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth ordered a Stryker Brigade combat team as well as a General Support Aviation Battalion to the border to reinforce and protect the territorial integrity of the U.S., the Pentagon announced on Saturday. The brigade is a U.S. Army infantry unit that uses Stryker armored vehicles to fight in urban areas. See, this is what I'm talking about. They're sending specialized units. Units that don't specialize in, you can't come across the border. Oh, you can come across the border. Let me cut down this barbed wire for you, or let me put this barbed wire up. No, he's sending units that specialize in urban combat inside of armored vehicles, which kind of makes you think, are you planning on sending some armored vehicles into Mexico? And then you also send this backup team, this aviation team, who will be your eye in the sky. I don't know, folks. When you start sending these type of units, it makes me think that you're planning on something. Something a little bit more than just, we're going to have troops along the border. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. All I'm saying is they're getting ready for the possibilities. And it may be more than just a possibility. They may know that they already have plans to do something. But let's go further. The new troops will be arriving along the Mexican border over the coming weeks and will continue to cut down illegal crossings which have plummeted since Trump took office. The invasion of our country is over, Trump declared Saturday. Anyone who tries to enter the USA illegally will face significant criminal penalties and immediate deportation. February saw the lowest number of people apprehended at the southern U.S. border in recorded history. only 8,326 in total, according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection. And that number is down significantly from just a month ago, when 61,465 people were caught at the border in January, and down a staggering 95% from February of last year, when 189,913 migrants were caught. The world is hearing our message. Do not come to our country illegally. If you do, we will find you, arrest you, and send you back, said Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security Kristi Noem on Saturday. Some 9,200 U.S. troops are already stationed at the southern border, with over 4,000 deployed under federal orders, as well as 5,000 National Guard troops sent by the governors. Trump has been relying on the military to fulfill his campaign promises of closing the border and returning any migrants who try entering illegally to their home countries. Military personnel have been sent to the border almost continuously since the 1990s to help address migration, drug trafficking, and transnational crime. Now, I've seen some people be critical of some of these deportation numbers that we've been seeing lately. People think that the numbers should be higher. We should be deporting more people. And I don't disagree with that. But what a lot of people don't take into consideration is how we have thousands upon thousands, fewer people coming across our border. Of course, your deportation numbers are going to be higher when you got 61,000 people coming across the border, as opposed to when you have 8,000 people who are coming across the border. So when you look at some of these deportation numbers, they may be disappointing to some, but you have to realize that we're having, less people come and even try to get into our country now. And when I say less, it's not off by 100 or a couple of dozen. No, literally tens of thousands, right? There were tens of thousands of more people trying to get across our border every single day when Joe Biden was president, as opposed to now. So that's why you look at some of these numbers and you're like, hey man, those are rookie numbers. We need to pump those up. Well, in reality, we're just having less encounters at our border. There's less people trying to get here illegally than there was, a couple of months ago when Biden was in office. But looking at this troop buildup and knowing about these spy operations that are currently going on as we speak with these spy drones and stuff, they've been locating hotspots for the cartel. They've been locating their headquarters, their hideouts, and stuff like that. And I don't know how they plan on acting on it. I know that over the past couple of months, literally ever since Trump has been in office and Pete Hegseth took over and everything, they've been gathering intel. Now, what they plan to do with that intel, that's what we're waiting to find out. They're gathering information. Are they going to provide this information to Mexican authorities and the military in Mexico and hope that they go confront the cartel? Maybe, but they haven't had a good track record of doing that, right? So I think that there's a possibility that we're gathering intel and then we're going to take matters into our own hands, because if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. You can't expect a place as corrupt as Mexico, and I love the Mexican people. I'm talking about the people running Mexico. I'm talking about the cartel. You cannot expect a place as corrupt as Mexico to nip the corruption in the bud, okay? There's a reason why things are so bad there. They're not capable of handling it. Do you know how many people died and were executed who were trying to be, a president or a politician in Mexico? They knocked them all off. It's very wild. It's like the wild, wild west out there. So if you really want something done right, you can't depend on the authorities there. You can't depend on the military or the president or anything like that. You're going to have to do it yourself. So if we are to really crack down these cartels, we're going to have to send the military in. And right now, all signs point towards that we're getting ready to do that. I think it's going to be something kind of shocking for some. I don't think it's something that they want to do in Trump's first month or two in office. I think they're getting ready. Give it a couple of months, and I think we're going to start hearing of I mean, I'm not saying that we're just going to roll across the Mexican border in force, but I do think we're going to have little skirmishes, little missions, little secret missions going in, maybe using some Navy SEALs or something to take out certain cartel members. We're going to see some crazy stuff upcoming because they're not gathering these troops and gathering this intel for no reason. They plan on using it somehow. But for now, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.